you were very skilled with your words. And so you could say things to kind of push my buttons. I'm just thankful that it didn't push me to going back to the old person.
Yeah.
You know, because it could have. Now that I'm thinking about it,
real close.
I think that was like, I'm about to get you up off me. I'm about to get you up off me. You keep playing with me.
I think you just got tired of the back and forth.
I did.
You was like, you know what? You acted like a real B right now. Welcome to Doing It with the Daniels, the podcast where we navigate life, marriage, and ministry. I'm Charles.
And I'm Tesa. Join us as we share insights, wisdom, and practical advice to strengthen your marriage, empower your life, and enrich your ministry.
Let's dive in together and discover the joys of doing it with the Daniels. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Doing It with the Daniels, where we help couples get it on in life, marriage, and ministry.
Come on.
I'm glad to be back here with you, baby.
All right, it's another episode. You ready?
I think I'm ready.
All right.
Well, what's on the table today? What do you think we should share with people today?
Well, I think it's going to tie into where we left off, and it's kind of like fighting, arguing, disagreements.
Yes.
All of that.
Yeah. And we're not talking about physical abuse. That's a whole other conversation, but really just those disagreements and heated conversations.
Yes.
We shouldn't call it fighting. Maybe
heated disagreements.
Debate, because it's going to get heated.
Yeah.
In the relationship, you're not going to agree. When you are becoming one, the spirit of compromise is not going to always avail itself.
Right.
The spirit of understanding is not going to always show up immediately. Sometimes compromise, understanding, empathy is going to come after a blow up.
Right.
Unfortunately. But if you're not careful, a lot of damage will be done in that process. Back to what you said earlier in our last episode about fighting resentment.
Right.
And bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is like the seed, or that's the spark of the blow up.
Yeah.
And then when you have a personality like yours, I remember your personality was
my personality.
Yeah, your personality.
What's my personality?
I'm pretty much outspoken. I'm gonna say what's on my mind.
Right.
If you feel like it's gonna create tension, you'll kind of hold it in and be like, well, I ain't gonna say that because I don't want to go there just yet.
Well, I had to learn to read. So I was learning how to communicate in a different way because my communication wasn't the best back in the day.
What was it back in the day?
So my communication was really, really bad back in the day. So I think I used a lot of language that I shouldn't have used. And so when I felt a certain kind of way, it's like I had to hold it because I didn't want it to come out the wrong way. I didn't want to say the wrong things because I was learning how to communicate differently and I would say better. Yeah. Because I grew up around, what do I call it?
A lot of colorful language.
Yeah. And I think, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And so you don't understand that that's not the way you need to communicate. That's not the way you talk, that God is not pleased with that. So I had to learn that being an adult, like in my adulthood. So I had to learn how to change the way I communicate, especially when it's heated, when it's arguing, disagreeing, and all of that.
And even more importantly, with your spouse.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, that's just not the way we talk to one another. I think it's very important that we understand that you're going to have disagreements. You're going to have arguments because you're not going to always see things the same way. Although you're one as a couple, you're still two very different individuals.
Right.
And, you and I, we're very different.
Very different. Like, very different. Night and day.
But we had to learn to appreciate our differences.
Yeah.
Right. But until we learn to appreciate them, those differences create
clashing
challenges. Yeah. We clashed and it got heated at times.
It did.
And so what happened in those heated exchanges, like, how did you respond to those things? Because once you got saved, I mean, you was wanting to live for God and God had delivered you from using profanity.
Right.
What did that look like for you? Like a heated debate?
I think, at first I would hold a lot of stuff in, and I probably would do a lot of like slamming of cabinets.
Come on. I just went back in the past. I just want to make sure you told the people the truth.
I'm going to tell the truth. I mean, because it is what it is. I had to grow and I had to learn. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just what I did back in the day.
So while we be in the discussion that got heated, if you happen to be near a cabinet door,
I would slam a cabinet door or something. It is what it is, because you are very skilled with your words, and so you could say things to kind of push my buttons, and I would never ever win an argument.
No, I made sure you wouldn't.
You made sure I never won.
My job was to shut you down
every time, and you did a good job at it. You really did. And so, but I'm just thankful that it didn't push me to going back to the old person. Yeah, because it could have. Now that I'm thinking about,
got real close.
Why you say that?
Got real close one day.
It did. It did get close one day. Oh my God! But what was that about? I'm trying to think.
I don't even remember what it was about, but I know it almost got physical up in there.
Was it that bad? It was bad. It was bad. But I'm trying to think.
The man pride in me couldn't take it. I had to learn restraint and self. God, Holy Spirit, kotomakadaba, the spirit of temperance had to arrest me.
I think that was like, I'm about to get you up off me. I'm about to get you up off me. You keep playing with me. And so, yeah.
No, I'm going to tell him what you said.
Hey.
I think you just got tired of the back and forth.
I did.
You was like, you know what? You acted like a real B right now. And you ain't say the word. You just said the letter B. And I was like, oh, baby, it's on. Ooh, we can do it if that's what you put in. It was bad.
It was bad. It was really, really bad. I feel bad. I really feel bad. But that was my way of communicating. I think in that moment, that was my way of getting you off of me, because you were going in on me, and like with your words. And I never, ever felt like I never really wanted to win, I think, an argument, but I wanted you to hear me, and you wouldn't hear me. And so
I think that's good.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, let me just, and I, in the world and where I come from and what I was used to growing up is like, hey, I just cuss you out, get you up off me, I'm gonna shut you down. And I wasn't using that language anymore, and I was having to figure out a different way to communicate in that, not even that, but just heated conversations. You know what I'm saying? Because that will take you back, and that's what a lot of people that use profanity, that's what, that one thing that they say they struggle with is when they get into heated conversations, they can end up backsliding and going back. And so I didn't want to do that in that moment, but I mean,
and thank God you never did. Thank God you never did. But it was just, it like you said, it's learning how to navigate those things in a new way, in a way that honors God. But I think even with that, we didn't honor each other because, like I said, my goal was to make sure you didn't win, and you knew that you wasn't gonna win. You wasn't gonna overtalk me. You wasn't gonna outtalk me. Right. Which created damage within itself, because like you said, you didn't feel heard. And then at the same time, for you, it brought up a level of frustration that could have taken you back to an old place, or put you in as a wife in kind of shutdown mode. Like, there's no point in me even talking to you.
And that's how I felt. A lot of times I felt like, what I say doesn't matter because you're not hearing me. You're not really understanding, and you're not listening to what I'm trying to convey to you. And
now, when you say hearing me, what you're really saying, because we had to learn this, you're really saying, I want you to show understanding about what I'm saying.
Exactly.
And I think we messed up because our listening, well, I know for me, listening wasn't about understanding.
No,
listening was about waiting on you to pause so I can jump in and attack.
You already in your mind got what you want to say.
Oh, yeah, I'm finna dissect everything you're saying, dismantle it, and show you where you're wrong. So you realize you the problem.
And that's what you did for a while.
And it was wrong.
It was wrong.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
I don't think that's what I did.
No, you didn't do that. I think for me that came from a place of pride.
Right.
Not wanting to be wrong, not wanting somebody to point out something about me they didn't like.
Exactly.
And really putting it back on you.
Mm-hmm. You did that.
There may have been some gaslighting in there along the way.
Mm-hmm. That's bad.
Like, no, it ain't me.
It's you. Exactly.
What you see is not what you think it is. You just got to deal with you.
You the problem. It's all you. I'm fine, but you got to work on you.
Yeah.
And really, in the reality, it wasn't all me.
Yeah, it got real ugly. But I will say this, as we navigate through that, I think one of the first things that we learned that really began to help us was this one principle that we teach even to other couples, that your spouse is not
your enemy.
Not your enemy. Mm-hmm. And once we start implementing that, we stop fighting each other, because we still had disagreements.
Yeah.
But we stopped looking at each other like you're the enemy.
Exactly.
And I got to eliminate and annihilate the enemy.
Yeah.
Because you fight like that, and like I said, it's not physical, but with your words.
Yeah.
You're trying to destroy that person if you're able to. For some people, it's profanity.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cuss you out because I know that's what's going to bring you down. For me, I'm not going to cuss you out, but I'm going to show you where you wrong, and you're thinking it's wrong, and you just all jacked up, and you are the problem.
Right.
Right. And so, but either way, it's still tearing one another down.
Yeah.
You know, and we had to learn, number one, we're not each other's enemies. Yeah. We had to work through that. And we had to learn how to talk to each other, communicate in a way that was still respectful,
right,
while getting our point across. I think what helped us with that, as I think back to those times, you remember the time we had the conversation about, I think I said to you one time, I was like, man, you talk to the people on your job better than you talk to me.
Yep, you did.
And we started talking. We actually had a conversation about that, like, we're in a covenant relationship.
Yeah.
We helping each other pay these bills and
everything
right here to take care of our family. Why would I talk to you worse than I talk to the people I work with? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We go to work and we so nice and kind and sweet and everybody
love us.
Yeah. And then you
get home and you dogging your spouse out.
Yes. You disrespectful, you mean, you inconsiderate. We had to come to understand that's not right. You my covenant partner.
Yeah.
You're my wife. I'm your husband. Why would I talk to you that way?
Exactly.
If I talk to anybody, it needs to be the people on the job.
Yeah, talk crazy to them.
But seriously, that really helped trigger something. Right. I was like, no,
wait a minute, we're doing this wrong.
We can't talk to each other that way.
And I think another quote maybe you read about the person that wins the argument.
In Emerson Ayers' book, Love and Respect, he had a line in there. And I mean, it's just one line, but it really made a big impact on, I know, me, and I think us as a couple. But I think me so because that was where I was. He said, whoever wins the argument loses the relationship.
That's so good.
And when I saw that, I was like, wow. And I began to see how over the years, me winning arguments was pushing you away from me. And I didn't get it. I didn't understand that that's what I was doing. I thought I was shutting you down. And you was like going away and being done with it. Okay, and now it's like, okay, you realize I win. It's over. Hey, let's go on with life. But really, it could have been feeding that seed of resentment and bitterness and rejection, because when you're not heard, you feel rejected.
Exactly.
Rejection, and it was like, I don't want to be close to you. I don't want to connect with you.
Nope. I don't want to connect with you. I don't want to be close to you. I don't want to talk to you, because every time I bring somewhat of maybe just an issue or concern of mine about you, you just gonna shut me down.
Yeah.
And so, and in my mind, I was like, I ain't gonna talk to him about none of that. Even if I had a thought of coming to you and talking to you about something, I was just like, it's like I would talk myself out of it because of past issues and past relationships or things that you may have said in the past. And I was just like, I just have to deal with it.
Well, not wanting to feel rejected or unheard or
definitely unheard.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's huge.
Yeah.
And that's something that we have to navigate through and make a decision that in our communication, we both have to work on it.
Yeah, I did.
Let's make sure, okay, we're going to disagree, but here's the other principle. Let's make sure we honor God.
Yes.
Even in our disagreements.
Yeah.
And that's where, that's where the fight came in for us to really make that transition of this can't just be a attack mode. It has to be a communication that God is still honored.
Right.
In how we're talking to and treating one another.
Yes.
And that's when it made it bigger, because it went beyond, I'm just talking to you. You start to understand, wait a minute, God is observing this conversation. Although it's just me and you in the room,
right?
God is aware of everything we're saying to one another. Yeah. He's aware of how we're making each other feel in this conversation. Yeah. And I think for me, I didn't want to talk to you at times because I didn't like door slamming. You know, like that was triggering for me. Like, you slamming doors, I'm mad. I'm thinking, oh, we getting ready. You want to do something.
Or if I raise my voice.
Oh, yeah, because I ain't like being yelled at. Like, don't yell at me.
But you don't understand, I was not being heard. Right. So, women, when they feel like they're not being heard, what do? They project their voice. And sometimes I don't even feel like I was yelling, because, I was saying, this is yelling.
Yeah, I was saying, I'd be like, why are you yelling at me? I'm not yelling at you. I'm like, you don't hear that your voice has changed? Because I would be intentionally calm. And some of that was because I knew it would only frustrate you more. Right. So let me stay very calm and very, very pleasant tone. And so when you get worked up, why are you yelling? I'm not yelling. Like, you didn't hear the change in your voice?
And see, some of that was mostly passionate about what I'm trying to convey.
No, that was
what I'm trying to tell you right now. You're not listening.
Yeah.
That's all that was, I felt, because, yelling is just like you hollering, like you screaming. I don't think I've ever done that.
Well, I guess talking loud.
Yeah.
I didn't like talk because you don't typically talk loud. It's a different tone for you.
Yeah.
You're typically very soft.
Maybe louder, but it's passionate because I'm trying to get through what I'm trying to say, and you just wasn't listening. You wasn't getting it. Yeah. So I felt like I had to do those things sometimes. Yeah. In the beginning.
And I think we do that. We find ways to cope or ways to navigate around, which if we don't get the proper tools, it makes us even more toxic.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think here's another thing, we do what we saw.
Oh, yeah.
In our own home.
Oh, yeah.
We thought worked. When really it didn't. Both of us come from broken homes.
Yeah.
Our parents are both divorced.
Right.
And we saw disagreements. We saw arguments. We saw all of that. And we saw how those things were handled.
Yeah.
I know in my household, it was like it just kind of got real quiet, went away or whatever. But it was almost like, I think I would hear my dad at times, like, if he disagreed, he just disagreed. And you wasn't going to change his mind. Like, you talk to you blue in the face. Whatever, and I think I also took that approach. Like, that's where I would kind of shut you down. Like, yeah, this is whatever. This is
like, I'm the man. It's what I say.
I'm the man, and you shouldn't be arguing with me anyway. But it was totally wrong, and I had to learn to hear you. I had to learn to open my heart to receive even the steps that we put in place and we talked about in the book that I wrote, Communicate and Connect, where we talk about those communication things that help couples. And that's really, those tools, those steps are what really changed our marriage for the better.
Yeah.
I mean, because we began to implement that one skill of empathy.
Yeah.
And I remember when I learned it and started implementing it into our communication, what began to happen, like, I put myself in your shoes. And I begin to hear you.
Yeah.
And when you begin to talk to me and I heard you and I was in your shoes and tried to feel what you felt, our arguments were like done. They were over like that.
No, it was more like we were talking to each other and getting an understanding.
Yeah, because you would say how you felt and instead of me snapping back, twisting it around, turning it on you, like you need to deal with it, get over whatever, I said, you're right.
And, when you started that, I was thinking to myself, because I'm used to getting all this other stuff, from you. And so when you started that, I was like, wait a minute, it's something different, and I wasn't used to that. And so then I had to learn how to start back opening up because I didn't really want to open up to you anymore. Yeah. And so that was a new thing that I had to learn that, okay, it's safe now. I can go to him and I can say these things.
Because I didn't even tell you.
No.
I just started doing it.
You just started doing it.
And that's why even in the book, I tell people that you don't need your other spouse or partner to be on board for you to use these strategies.
Exactly.
To start improving your relationship.
Yeah, because I never knew.
Yeah, you didn't know until later when I told you what I was doing. I was like, I was trying it out.
Yeah.
to see if it worked. I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. And as I began to do it, I realized everything you were saying, because you love me, we're a couple, we're united, it was valid.
Yeah.
And when I looked at it from your perspective, not mine, I realized I should have done that different.
Right.
Or I should have said some things different. So we love for the other person to be wrong. Disagreements don't just pop up out of nowhere.
Right.
It's a way we think and a way we view things. And oftentimes it's a very selfish view. But when I stepped out of my own view and stepped into your seat and your role and how you saw it or how you felt about it, I was like, I would feel that way too if that was done to me. I apologize.
Yeah.
And it was like, at first you was like,
wait a minute.
Oh.
I'm being punked or tricked or something. I was like, what? Hold up. But
it changed.
It did. It started to change.
And it almost to a point we really stopped fighting.
Yeah.
We still had disagreements, but they weren't fighting.
No.
We had discussions. We started understanding each other better.
Yeah.
And we grew from there. And that's where we began to, as we wrap up this, we kind of got into learning to pray differently.
Yes.
In our marriage.
Yes.
And that really, I think God began to open our hearts and shed some light on how to navigate our marriage in a way, once again, that honors Him.
Yeah.
And how we pray for one another and deal with those differences or those disagreements.
Right.
Because even here we are 19 years later, and we are still becoming one.
Yeah.
There's a lot that has happened.
Yeah.
But we're still different areas. We still don't agree on everything.
Yeah.
But we're so much better at understanding
so much better.
one another.
Yeah.
Or even accepting those differences and being okay with them.
Yeah.
So we learn how to fight better. Now we have more peace.
Yes.
And we
definitely.
enjoy each other, and we celebrate our differences now. Now I realize where I did not appreciate your differences. Now I appreciate them because I see the value they bring to my life.
Right.
To our family, to our ministry. I'm glad you're not like me, because that'd be a mess.
Oh, two of you walk around here? Yeah. That wouldn't be good.
But see, my differences are also the strengths where you're weak.
Yes. So, yeah.
And so that's where the balance comes in. And when we learn to appreciate that, things started to move a whole lot better.
It did.
And we stopped being hit in all these different areas.
Yeah.
Because we learned how to stop fighting each other, fight the real enemy the right way, and work together, which is what God ordained for marriage.
It was good. It got better.
Come on, it got better.
It got a whole lot better, so.
Come on, we wrapping this one up.
Hey, it was all good.
Yo, close it out. I think I didn't say it enough.
You said enough? Yeah, it was good. It was good. So I hope y'all enjoyed this episode of Doing It with the Daniels. We will catch you on the next one.
All right. Hey, thank you for joining us for Doing It with the Daniels. If you want to keep up with everything going on our channel, don't forget to
like, comment, subscribe, and share this podcast.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time.